Mass Maritime, lane 2 Amherst, lane 3 Connecticut, lane 4 UNH, and lane 5 URI. And in the early leader, it is University of Rhode Island in lane 1, followed closely by UNH in lane 2, Amherst in lane 4, Connecticut in lane 3, and Mass Maritime in lane 5. 3 to qualify out of this race to the grand final. And URI is making a statement as they move away from the gun.
2. Okay, and as they come by us here at 600 meters, very impressive rowing over in lane 1 from the University of Rhode Island. They have almost cleared lane 2, UNH. Then in lane 4, it's Amherst with about 2 seats over Connecticut. Those are your 4 leaders. Mass Maritime over here is having a little bit of trouble staking with the pack. Again, now here's another push from URI, and they have gained about 2 feet of open water, and they continue to stride away. Very nice long stroke with a good send to it, and they're using it looks like a brand new boat pretty well, and now they've got about a half length of open over UNH. UNH rowing very controlled, but they better think about what's happening over in lane 3, because here comes Connecticut putting their bow ball onto the stern of lane 2 UNH. As they do that, they're starting to outdistance Amherst. Connecticut now has the stroke sitting on the bow ball of Connecticut, and they're continuing to move. So the leaders are, as old Jack Fraley would say, we have an echelon, and it is lane 1, lane 2, and lane 3, and lane 4 back to lane 5 a bit. Yes, they're almost exactly all 1 length apart now, with a little bit of open between every single one of those first 4 crews. And Mass Maritime's back about 2 lengths. So again, it looks pretty smooth and pretty controlled now for URI up there in the lead. Their stroke, even though he's a starboard, he can look over to his port side and see that he's got his distance with the UNH crew. UNH crew has the same advantage. Even though he's a port, he can really look over at lane 3. But they're all rowing, I'd say, 33-34. Nobody's really let the cadence down. Of anybody, it looks like Amherst is probably rowing the lowest. I think we're going to hand it over to the finish line and go back for the next race. First heat, men's novice 4s, is coming toward the finish.
As he just mentioned, the crews seem to be in a Jack Fraley echelon. Jack, former voice of the men's sprints in the IRA for many, many years, passed away earlier this spring, but his memory remains with us clearly. So it is separated by about a length apiece. URI over on the Worcester Shore, UNH, Connecticut, followed by Amherst and Mass Maritime. All 3 lead boats look pretty comfortable. Nobody stroking ultra high. URI currently at 31. UNH striking a bit higher. UNH at 35. Connecticut at 31. And the 2 outside crews, it's desperation time now for Amherst and Mass Maritime. They've got very, very little time here to get into this, push this top 3, and move into a qualification spot. So your leader remains URI comfortably. And things have started to get a little interesting between UNH and Connecticut, although it appears that UNH still has the upper hand. Amherst is trying to make inroads from 4th place to 3rd place, but it appears that they're going to run out of water, and Mass Maritime trails by open water. we're going to get ready to go back up to the starting line for Heat 2 of the Men's Novice 4. This race looks pretty much in hand. I've been told we're not going up there quite yet. They're not quite ready to start. Willie Black's giving me all sorts of signs from inside the control room, so we'll follow this down to the end. Since we're staying here, it looks like UNH and Connecticut have obliged us with a more exciting finish than may have been anticipated originally. URI seems to still be in control, but UNH and Connecticut are starting to duke it out here. URI has raised its rate a little bit. They're at 32 now. UNH at 34. And it looks like Con's bid has fallen a bit short. Unless there's a little magic left, Con has dropped its rate to 32. So URI a clear victory here, open water over the next two crews. And it looks like UNH is going to have close to a length on Connecticut. URI a couple of bad strokes here, but haven't lost their balance completely. Getting ready to cross the line, cruising at 31 with a length to maybe a little bit more of open water on UNH. UNH is across. And now Connecticut.